Practicing mindfulness in decision-making allows us to embrace the journey of growth and transformation. When we approach decisions with a clear sense of purpose, we are less likely to be swayed by external influences or fleeting desires.
So you want to avoid the downhill path. Well, if the uphill path is like this, which is like exponential, let's say, or geometric, then what that means is that it doesn't matter how big the first steps you take uphill are, even if they're trivial, even if they're shameful in their size, because you're so useless, that if you're disciplined in that, you'll speed up extraordinarily rapidly. And so that's the good news, you might say, is that you can take very small steps, even ones that might be shameful in their size, and you have to admit that to yourself. But once you get the ball rolling, it doesn't roll in a linear fashion, it rolls in a geometric fashion. And this is a really good thing to know, because
each decision we face is an opportunity to learn more about ourselves and refine our understanding of our values and priorities. By adopting a mindful approach, we can cultivate a sense of curiosity about our choices and their impacts. This openness to exploration enhances our ability to adapt and evolve. Learning from regret is an essential aspect of the human experience, serving as a powerful catalyst for personal growth and transformation. Regret, often perceived as a negative emotion, can be a valuable teacher if we allow ourselves to confront and reflect on it. Rather than shying away from feelings of remorse or disappointment, embracing regret can provide profound insights into our choices, values, and aspirations. One of the primary lessons we can learn from regret is the importance of taking responsibility for our choices. Acknowledging our role in the outcomes of our decisions empowers us to reclaim agency over our lives. Instead of adopting a victim mentality, we can shift our focus toward personal accountability. This process of ownership enables us to learn from our experiences rather than dwell in self-pity. Self-criticism belittles us even more. Acknowledging our own wrong by reflecting on what we could have done differently, we develop a stronger sense of self-awareness and a greater understanding of how our choices shape our lives. Embracing regret can inspire us to cultivate a growth mindset. Rather than viewing regret as a source of shame or failure, we can see it as an opportunity for learning and growth. This mindset encourages us to approach our past experiences with curiosity and openness. By reframing our regrets as valuable lessons, we can extract insights that inform our future decisions. This approach fosters resilience, enabling us to navigate challenges with a sense of purpose and determination. Learning from regret also compels us to examine our priorities and aspirations. Regrets often reveal what we value most in life, whether it's relationships, career choices, or personal fulfillment. By reflecting on our regrets, we can gain clarity about our true desires and motivations. This introspection can lead to a re-evaluation of our goals, prompting us to pursue paths that align more closely with our authentic selves. In this way, regret becomes a guiding force, steering us toward a more meaningful and purposeful existence. Learning from regret encourages us to embrace vulnerability and empathy. As we navigate our own regrets, we become more attuned to the struggles of others. This understanding fosters compassion, allowing us to connect with others on a deeper level. In recognizing that we are not alone in our feelings of remorse, we cultivate a sense of community and shared humanity. Regret can serve as a motivator for action. The discomfort associated with regret often propels us to make changes in our lives. Rather than allowing regret to paralyze us, we can channel it into motivation to pursue new opportunities or rectify past mistakes. This proactive approach enables us to transform our regret into a driving force for positive change.
What happens in the Brothers Karamazov essentially is that Alyosha continues to act out his commitment to the good, let's say, and in that manner he's triumphant. It doesn't matter that he loses the arguments, because the arguments aren't exactly the point. The arguments in some sense are a side issue, because the issue is, and this is the existential issue, is not what you believe as if it's a set of facts, but how you conduct yourself in the world.
You can think about what it is that you did wrong or insufficiently that led to the collapse of your plan, right? So that's the first investigation. I made some sacrifices. I attempted to bring about a particular form of the future. It didn't happen. Okay, why? Well, the world is set against me and the cosmos is evil and there's no God and I'm bitter and cynical. That's one potential explanation, right? Poor me, right? And I'm not trying to be flippant about this, because sometimes people's dreams are quite realistic and they still fail catastrophically. You know, it can be brutal. Maybe you did make a lot of good decisions and you suddenly got ill, or someone in your family did, and everything went to hell on you. It doesn't have to be because you've done something cardinally foolish that you fail. You know, it's built into the structure of the world. But it doesn't matter.
By allowing ourselves to be seen, we open the door to genuine relationships, built on trust and understanding. Journey requires us to confront our fears and insecurities, acknowledging the parts of ourselves that we may have previously hidden. It can be uncomfortable to expose our true selves, but this vulnerability is a pathway to deeper connections with ourselves and others. Additionally, the process of reflecting on our relationships can
treat into yourself, and you can say something like, all right, I need to retool my conception of strategy, but also potentially my conception of goal. Maybe I'm looking in the wrong place. Maybe I have to look somewhere else. And you can open yourself up to a revelation. So there's a gospel statement that's very relevant to this. So Christ tells his followers that if they knock, the door will open. If they ask, they'll receive. And if they seek, they'll find. And so it sounds magical. It sounds like the sort of thing that the new atheists would have a field day with, but that's not a wise interpretation of that saying. The proper interpretation is something more like a recognition of the way thought works. So imagine your plans didn't work out. Okay, now you sit down and you say to yourself, I'd like to know, what did I do that wasn't as good as it could have been, and where did I fail to look so that the probability of my failure was higher? Now, to ask that question, you have to want the answer. That's what it means to knock or to ask or to seek. This is no joke. It's like you have to want to know. And it's a very painful thing to do, because especially if you had given it your all to the degree you were able, and you have reason to be bitter, you're going to be searching for the errors that you still made, and discovering your own errors is always extremely painful.
Inner voice. Many people dismiss their intuitive feelings due to fear of judgment or a lack of confidence in their instincts. However, cultivating self-trust is essential for unlocking the full potential of intuition. This process often involves quieting the mind and creating space for reflection. It is important to recognize that intuition is not infallible. While intuitive insights can be powerful, they must be balanced with critical thinking and rational analysis. The most effective decision-making process often involves integrating intuitive feelings with logical reasoning, allowing us to benefit from the strengths of both approaches.
Imagine that you come to notice and contemplate and reconsider your unhappiness. Further, you determine to accept responsibility for it and dare to posit that it might be something at least partly under your control. You crack open one eye for a moment and look. You ask for something better. You sacrifice your pettiness, repent of your envy, and open your heart. Instead of cursing the darkness, you let in a little light. You decide to aim for a better life instead of a better office. But you don't stop there. You realize that it's a mistake to aim for a better life if it comes at the cost of worsening someone else's. So you get creative. You decide to play a more difficult game. You decide that you want a better life in a manner that will also make the life of your family better, or the life of your family and your friends and the strangers who surround them. What about your enemies? Do you want to include them too? You bloody well don't know how to manage that. But you've read some history. You know how enmity compounds. So you start to wish even your enemies well, at least in principle, although you are by no means yet a master of such sentiments. And the direction of your sight changes. You see past the limitations that hemmed you in unknowingly. New possibilities for your life emerge, and you work toward their realization.